Today I'm going to do a video on transplanting Tulsi plant. First video of grow a Tulsi plant with me. I'm going to have a series of this grow a Tulsi plant with me. Today I'm just going to transplant a Tulsi plant. Other than the pot and the plant, you will need potting mix, perlite, vermicompost and the fertilizer. Whenever you choose a potting mix, always make sure that it is a potting mix and not potting soil. And the second thing, make sure that it is a OMRI listed. Vermiculite is similar to perlite, but it retains more water. It is optional. I'll be not using it today. But if you are using vermiculite, I'm going to provide you guidance on the soil composition. This is the last ingredient I'm going to add to my soil mix. This is worm casting. You don't have to add it, but it's really good to have worm casting or just the compost to be added to the potting mix. The ingredient I recommend you adding while transplanting is Epsom salt. I'm going to use a bucket to mix my soil. I've taken 3 cups of potting mix. I'm going to use 1 cup of perlite. I'm going to use like 1 to 2 teaspoons of fertilizer. This is all-purpose fertilizer. I'm going to mix all these 3. Be aware of perlite because the dust is not very good. It's always recommended to moist this perlite a little bit before mixing. I'm going to mix this perlite just so that it doesn't fly. And then I'm going to mix the perlite with the soil. If you have peat moss or cocoa peat, instead of adding 75% of potting mix, add like 50% of potting mix and 25% of peat moss or cocoa peat. One of the biggest mistake people do while transplanting is either they will be transplanting in a big pot or they will keep the plant in the old pot for too long for the roots to grow and cause root bound. This was transplanted like 2 or 3 weeks back. One of the reasons you will see this plant has grown so well because it had space to develop roots. One of the biggest mistake people do while transplanting is people usually transplant in a too big of a pot. So this is a 4-inch pot and this is a 3-inch pot. So usually when you're transplanting, you should be transplanting from 4-inch or 3-inch pot to a 6-inch pot, which is this. This is a clay pot and this is a plastic pot. This is a 8-inch pot and this is a 10-inch pot. So always make sure that while transplanting, transplant from a 4-inch pot to a 6-inch pot and from a 6-inch pot to an 8-inch pot and from an 8-inch pot to a 10-inch pot. So when you transplant from a 4-inch pot to say 8-inch or 10-inch, the biggest problem in Seattle area is or other colder area is the water doesn't dry too easily. So the water will stay in the pot for too long, causing root rot. I have 2 Krishna Tulsis here. One I'm going to transplant in a clay pot and the other one I'm going to transplant in a plastic pot. It's recommended to use a clay pot because clay pot dries water much easier than plastic pot, and clay pot is better in Seattle area, especially in the winter season. Okay, I'm going to pre-fill this pot a little bit, and then I'm going to place this plant on top of this, just for me to know how much of soil I should be filling in. So I'm going to fill in a little bit more soil. So I already filled in some soil here. I'm going to dig a small hole here to put the plant here. And now I'm going to take the plant out. If you see here, the roots are nicely grown here. If you want, you can slowly loosen some of them. You don't have to, unless it is really root bound. Okay. So I loosened some soil here. I'm going to place on top of it. And now I'm going to fill the rest part of it with the soil. slowly losing the top part of the soil. I'm going to slightly tap, not much, slightly tap this. Okay, once transplanting the plants, make sure that you water them very heavily, especially because the soil is very dry and it will take a lot of water to get it moist. I usually like water them until not just like it drains, but also allow it to sit in the water for some time. After transplanting, your soil will need a lot of water because this is the first time they are going to take in water. This is especially true if you have peat moss, because peat moss absorbs a lot of water. I usually allow the water to drain, and once it drains, I allow it to sit in the saucer for some time so that all the water will get absorbed by the soil. The other important thing to remember after transplanting is to keep these plants in shaded area for few days until they recover from transplant shock. And other thing is, when you transplant, always make sure that you transplant during a cloudy day or in the evening. Never transplant when it is very hot. Thanks everyone for watching my video. If you think that the information was helpful, please like my video. Please subscribe to my channel so that I can make many more videos. Thank you.